In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of my favourite ways to use envelopes in your journals. You can use regular envelopes, and a couple of examples we'll be making our own, no tools required. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope you will subscribe, stick around and give me a chance to share some of my inspirational ideas. And if you are a returning subscriber, well, you know you're my faithfuls and you have my sincere thanks and gratitude. I'd like to say hi and hugs to Jeanette Gibbs, Marie Patricia and Eleanor Miro, and thank you so much for your lovely kind comments in my recent video. So guys, what are we doing today? Today we're going to play around with some envelopes. I've got a whole pile of, well, I've got several piles here of junk mail, and I've also got just some like envelopes that I've picked up from op shops that have been loose without a card, and I've got some glassine envelopes here. But really, you can use any envelope. Even if you don't have any envelopes with windows, you can easily cut out a window. We're also going to make a couple of envelope styles DIY. So that's with no tools as well. Now make sure that you watch to the end as I share some tips and additional decorating ideas. And I would really love it if you could comment in the description below any suggestions, any ideas, feedback, so you can also help out the viewers that are watching as well. So guys, let's jump to it. Idea number one is this envelope pocket. It's made out of a junk mailer, and the idea is you can put this on a page. So if I bring my journal over, now when I was playing around with it, I actually thought it would be a good idea to, where you've got these pages with a little flap, you could attach it like so, and then you can open it up, and that's why I've slightly decorated on the back. And then you can use the pocket to add in a journal tag, or alternatively you could put it on a page and you could attach it like that and have a tuck and then a pocket, or you can just put the pocket down and then put your tag inside. So how do we make it? For supplies, you're going to need an envelope, and you're going to need some book page and some decorative paper. You also want to think about maybe some fussy cut flowers, and I've got some butterflies here, and I've got scissors, I've got a craft knife with a blade in it, and I've got pencil and eraser just in case you want to mark something, some distress ink and blenders. Now I'm going to do some stamping. So I've got my StazOn, this is jet black, and I'm going to use the same, this is a Creative Expressions designer boutique. It's called Rosy Whiskers, and that's the code there just in case you're interested. And I've got these swirls. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use these on this project. Scissors, I don't know if I mentioned the scissors, and a tear ruler. I've got some sentiments as well. You might want to do something like that, and obviously glue. I think that's about it. So let's clear our desk space and let's get going. Okay, so I have picked out my envelope. So I'm just going to bring my cutter down, and I'm going to make this around about 4 inches wide. So I'm just going to trim this. I'm going to turn my envelope around, and I'm going to trim this roughly around about the 4-inch mark. Make sure everything's lined up. Okay, and then I want to leave around about 3 inches from the top here. So I'm going to just kind of make a mark here at the 3-inch mark, and it will all become clear soon. So if I bring my cutter back, and I'm just going to make a cut just at that size there. we've got this, and this is open on one side, and that doesn't matter about the fact that that is torn on the back. We'll fix that. So we can then come down around about 1 inch. So make a mark, about 1 inch mark there, and we'll just cut down with our craft blade. So now we've got this here, so we just fold this down and we have got this. So I'm going to turn this around and we'll do the back first. So we'll just get some book page there, and we're just going to repair that torn bit there. So I'm just going to get my tear ruler. So this might be a good tip just in case you've got envelopes that have kind of been ripped open. So you can still use them, you just have to do a little bit of repair work. Okay, so we can just glue that down now. So we'll just open this up, and to be honest, we can open the whole envelope up. Okay, so we want to glue down any little folded bits. Okay, so now we get to our book page and we just size up our book page. So we want it to come to around about here. So fold that back. And tear that. And then we can now, with our glue stick, we can come along and we can now glue this down. Okay, so we've now got that, so we can just come with our scissors and we can just trim that little bit of excess there. So we're now at this point here where we've got our flap. So if you want to, you can do an angle on the side. So I'll just come in with my scissors and I'm going to, similar process to what we do with our tags. Okay, and now that we've got that, we can just turn this flap up here and we can just now use that as a template for the other side. Okay, so now you can start thinking about the inside here. So because we're going to do some stamping, I'm going to get some more book page now, and this time I'm going to tear it down. Okay, so I come in here and I'm just going to measure up this inside piece. So I'm going to just fold along the bottom there. And the reason I do this is so that we don't have any interference, and the tag, when you put the tag in, it will slide in easily. There's nothing to catch against. Okay, so now that we've cut that one out, I'm going to glue that down. All right, so now we've got our window with a nice little bit of book page. So I am going to bring my stamping platform down because I know from experience that that particular little bunny is a little bit hard to stamp, but so cute, it's worth it. Okay, so I place my bunny where I want it to be and then I line it up so I know that it's going to be peeking in just where I want it. So now I'm going to carefully take that paper away. Okay, so hopefully nothing has moved. Not gonna lie, that was a bit of an effort, but we got our bunny. Now we can see, cute bunny. So now we can decide. So on the back here, we've pretty much got this going on, and we've done the inside. So now we just need to decorate this bit, and then we need to decorate the flaps. Okay, so I am going to get some book page, and I am going to run that down there. So I'm just going to get my tear ruler and just tear. Okay, and then I'm just going to get a little bit of decorative paper. Okay, so I might get that little corner there, I think. Yep, if I just take that bit off there, it's going to be enough. And then I'm going to get another piece. I'll get this down first. I think that will look really sweet. And just trim that little bit there. Just going to need a little strip to come here. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. And now I just need to find a piece here. Oh yes, I do like that. I think I'll just straighten up that little bit there. And we will just it's a bit like patchwork, isn't it? It looks so sweet. Okay, and then I'm going to just glue that section. Right, so now we've got that covered up, so I can come in with my scissors, just trim all this down. So we've got the back there and we've got this. So I am going to decorate that panel there and that panel there. Yeah, I might come in with that. Okay, so I'm just going to glue. Might get my glue book for this one. Okay, and then I can just cut around that now, and that gives it a little bit more reinforcement. Okay, so that is going to have some black stitch, so I think that's going to be fine. And on the back here, I've got this little strip here, and that's going to just fit. So I'll put that here. Okay, and I will just trim that now. Okay, so we've got this. I'm thinking that that has blended in a little bit, but what I'm going to do is sew now, and then I'm going to see how that looks. And I might do a little bit of stamping there just to break that up. So that does look a little bit crooked there, so just trim that. So as I said, I am going to first sew around here, and then I'm going to sew around here, then I'm going to glue it down, then I'm going to glue that down, and then I'm going to just sew around. So I'll be back in a second. So I just wanted to share a tip. I did forget to ink around the edges, but if that does happen, it's not too late. What you can do is, I'm just getting my craft knife, and you can see here it hasn't 100% glued down. It has a little bit here, but what I can do is just very, very gently come along with my craft knife, and just what I'm trying to do is just get a little bit of gap here, just enough that I can come in and just be very gentle with this, because you don't want to cut your paper. So I'm just taking my knife and I'm just very gently pressing it, and I'm sort of wiggling it as I go. I don't dare really do much else. But then what you can do is just hold a piece of book page and just come across, and then you can just kind of butt that book page, and you can just get the edges inked, and then you save not inking onto the actual bit of book page that we don't want inked. So there are kind of ways around it. So there we go, just finish that off. Okay, I'll be back in a second. It's all stitched now, front and back. So now we're ready just to make the finishing touches. So I'm just going to place my sentiment down here, and I've gone through my ribbon trims, and I thought I would finish that off there. And then I'm going to glue these butterflies across like so. And then on the back, I'm going to apply this sticker. So I'll be back and I'll show you the finished product. And there we have it, our envelope pocket. And that's the back side. So idea number 2, I'm going to call a envelope journal flip. So I'll show you a prototype that I have done. This is out of my ideas journal, and you can see here it's made out of a piece of junk mail, and I've cut it in a way that you can open it up and then there's some writing space. So this here is a pocket, and I have lined it with lace. However, the problem with that is that the tag does catch on the lace. So for this one here, I'm not going to do it the same way. I'm just going to back it with book page. It does look really nice. So you could do that and just leave that as a feature if you like, which I probably would do actually. But to do this project, you will need a envelope, a window envelope, and I've got some book page here. Now this is just 2 pieces of book page that I've glued together, and that's going to make my back of my pocket. And then I've got some decorative paper I'm going to play with, and then I've just got some fussy cut flowers, and also I will select a page tab as well. So what we need to do is get down your journal or your page, or if you're making a journal and you know what your page is going to be. So I would measure and have it pretty much running the height of the journal page. So I've just made 2 marks there. I'm just going to cut that now. And then what you want to do is open up. Now you can take this piece off. And then I would open up this as well. So I get my craft knife and I just come along here and just open that up. So now we've got this as an open piece. So if we bring our journal back, take your envelope, and you probably want to fold it so that it fits onto the page. So what we've done is we've made a flip. I'm going to just straighten that all up now, but we're going to put a piece of paper down here and that will become your writing space, and that is just going to be a flip like that. Now that I've got it out of the journal, I'm just going to get my glue, and just these little loose bits here I'm going to glue down. So I'm just going to just neaten up that fold that I made. Okay, so now you've got your piece. I've sized up a piece of paper for the front, but what we need to do is we need to cut out this window part. So the way I do that is I put my piece of paper underneath and then I open it out. Now I've got a mat underneath, like a cutting mat that I can use. So I get a tool like this. It's got a little balled end on it. It's like a scoring tool, or you could literally use a scoring tool if you didn't have something like this. But I go around, it's got a bigger end and a smaller end, so I am using the smaller end. And what I do is I just come around and I just gently, not too hard, like you don't want to tear the paper, but I just, enough that I can feel that it's leaving an imprint onto the piece of paper underneath. So I'll go around that a couple of times. Might pay attention to the corners there. Now if I lift that away, you can very faintly see. So I come around and I can faintly see that imprinted on the piece of paper there. So if I get my knife, my blade here, and if I hold my ruler and I cut, but I obviously don't come around where the curve is, and then I just cut, but I stop just as the curve is about to happen. So if I line that up, it's about the 6.5 inch mark, and it starts at about the 2. And then I can finish off the top bit there. So if it starts at the 1 and finishes off around about the 2-3 mark. Okay, so then I can get my little scissors and I can just come around and just follow that little curve around. I probably could have pressed a little bit harder, but you don't want to press so hard that you will tear the paper, but you want to tear it enough that you can see the imprint on the piece of paper. I did cut that a little bit there, but that's okay because we're going to be gluing that down anyway, so I'll just repair that when I glue it. And there you see, there it is. You can see that that's fitted really quite well. So I'm just going to apply some glue now onto this. Okay, so now I can just glue this down carefully, lining up my lines. Okay, and get to my burnishing tool and just make sure that that's down, and just I'm going to be stitching this anyway, so it's going to glue this, it's going to secure this down, but I might just run a little bit of extra glue in there just to give it a little bit more so it doesn't lift. Okay, so I'm going to be, as I say, I'm going to be stitching, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to trim a little bit off the top, so I'm not, I know I've missed a little bit there, but that's okay. I'll just trim that, that'll fix that. So now we want to do the back pocket bit. So I've cut this book page here so that it fits nicely. So I'm just going to secure that down here. Right, so that's done. So I just trim that top bit off, just slightly. At this point we could leave it. You might want to do the edges, but you could leave it at this point and wait until you actually do put it into a journal, and then you can pick an appropriate piece of paper. But what I would do, so I found some decorative paper, and what we can do is glue that down here like so, and if I lift it into my journal, what you're going to get now is that, and then you can open that up and you've got some writing space here, and now you've got some writing space here. So I'm going to glue that down, and I have found a tab, there it is, and I will also glue that down there. So I think that that looks really lovely. So let's get that all finished. I was going to stitch around the edges, but I've decided I'm not going to. What you can do just to give it a little bit more of an edge is I use some walnut stain. So I've inked around the edges with Vintage Photo, but then if you get walnut stain and if you just come around and just give it another little ink, and it just gives that little bit darker edge. So I think I'm going to leave that as is. And the other thing I've noticed is I just need to fix this little bit here where I snipped it. So I'm just going to do a little bit of surgery here. And just, it's a bit like that, isn't it? All your boo-boos that you have to fix. Well, you know, we aim for good, not perfection. We aim for finished, don't we? That's what I say. Okay, so I'm just going to now put this tab on. And we can just now glue this down. So we can come in with our little hole punch and just create a little thumb notch so that we know that there's a pocket there. So there we have it, a pretty writing space that you can slip into a journal that will be glued down onto that page. So you can open that up and you've got some extra journaling space there. So that is idea number 2. Idea number 3 is these gorgeous little mini envelopes that have been turned into an altered paperclip. So this is following on from a tutorial from Deborah from the Attic Lane. It's quite an older video. If I can find it, I'll link it in the description below. But it's so easy, but they're so cute. So what I've got is a piece of book page. Now, I've trimmed all the edges off, and this book page, just if you're interested to know, is around about 4.5 inches by about 7 inches. Now, if you want your writing to be the right way up, you would turn upside down like this. So what I do is I just fold that in half, and I just make a little crease and then line it up to the line on my cutting mat, and then I just fold in on this side and then fold in on this side. I might bring this one in just a little bit, just a tad bit more. Okay, and then I fold this edge in here to meet the inside flap there. So when I fold it, I'm folding it to that, and then I turn this over and I do the same. Okay, so just press those down here. Now you just sort of work out roughly what you think you want the size of your clip to be. So that's probably going to be a little bit too big, so I'm just going to just sort of eyeball it, and I'm going to bring it just below that little fold there. And when I open it back out, I've just got this little bit here that I'm just going to snip off now, just that little bit of excess. So we bring this, so we've got it folded into thirds, and now what we do is we get this little piece here and we tuck it into the front of that flap, and it is a little bit fiddly, so you just need to just be a little bit patient and just gently just sort of ease it down until you get that tucked in, which I have done. So now you've got this cute little envelope shape, so you can fold this down like so, and then you can get a paper clip and you can just attach the paper clip. So we've got this little bit here now, you can see this little hollow bit, and so you can attach a paper clip, and then that gets hidden there, and then you can attach that to the page. So this one here I've decorated, you can see I've done that, and I think I might leave this one open because then you can tuck something in there. So I'll just take the paper clip out for now. Okay, so to decorate it, I'm just going to get my distress ink. It's all pretty much the same. And we do the edges. Okay. Bring my little tray of goodies down here. Now I've got these little puffy, almost like typewriter letters here, and I've never really known what to do with them, and I thought that that was just such a good way of doing that. So if you wanted to close it down permanently, you could use, if you've got something similar, or you could use a button, or if you've got a very small circle punch, you could punch out a circle. But this one here I am going to leave open, as I said. So to decorate it, I'm just going to get a little bit of cheesecloth and I'm just going to glue that down. So you can decorate it any way you like, but I quite like using these little flowers, so I thought I would do the same again. I don't know if this one's bigger. It's the same. I guess it's because I've got the flap open, it looks a little bit different. I might put 3 flowers on this one. And I think a nice light pink. And see if the butterfly look any good. Does it need a butterfly? Oh yes, definitely. Can never fail with adding a butterfly, I say. And then I thought I would stamp it with this little pointing finger. Very cute. So because I've put the paper clip on this side, I think this time here I might put the paper clip on this side just so that I've got another option there. And to fill it up, see if we can find something small. Got these cute little, I got them a long time ago. They were like a little pad of just these pretty little papers, miniature little papers. So I think I'll take the paper clip out first. And maybe something like that. And I'll just put a few of them in there. And then you can add the paper clip. And there you have it. So such a quick, easy project, and you can make a whole pile of these and have them ready to put into your journal. So you can attach it onto a page. How cute is that? So that is idea number 3, little mini envelopes that you can attach a paper clip to, so altered paper clip. So idea number 4 are these cascading envelopes. Now this is a video that I saw by and it's called Cascading Envelopes by Robin Dudley Howes. But they are so cute and they're so easy to make, and these are fantastic for like these little strips that you've got left over, and they're so easy to make as well. So we'll put these aside and I will show you how to do it. So you get a strip of paper like this, or any size, and you just bring in the corner and you make like fold it up to make like a triangle, and then you cut that piece off, and then I found that if I line up these points and then bring in this edge to just over halfway, and see that line there, I make sure that that is fairly straight. I think that's the tip there that I can give you on that one. And then that one like that. And I find it quite handy to get a little ruler, and I just come a little bit below where the triangle is there, and I just use the back of my fingernail, or I use my fingernail just to score a line there, and then I just bring that up and fold it, and there you have it. So you can use any paper for this, but it's ideal for bits of book page. So I'll just grab some book page. Okay, so just bring that up there and just create a triangle. So obviously the bigger the book, you know, the bigger the strip of page that you've got, the bigger the envelope you're going to get. So just fold that like so, and just make sure your lines are straight. Bring that corner in to just over the halfway mark, just a tip over the halfway mark. And then I get my ruler and I place it about, I would say that's 1/2 centimetre below where that triangle is, and then I just get the back of my nail and I fold that up, and then I just bring that and just line everything up nicely and fold, and there we've got another one. So I'll try and get a bigger strip because I think it's nice to have different sizes. Okay, so I've got a bigger piece this time, so we fold it up and make a triangle. This is going to be quite a bigger one actually. So I just line my pointy ends up to a straight line on my mat, and then bring that in just a little bit over the halfway mark, and I just fold that, making sure that I line up as best I can that that side is straight. So do the same on the other side, fold it over and just not at the middle, just a little tad bit over, and then again make a crease, lining the edge up as best you can with a line on your mat, and then you get that shape. And then take your ruler and just a little bit below where that triangle is, I use the back of my nail and I just score it, and then like so. Okay, so now we've got our 3 pieces. We can do like a bit of a cascading, bit of a look at that. I didn't even plan that, but that actually works out well, having the blank book page there. So I might just play around a little bit, and something like that we can have. So I'm happy with that. Now for decoration, I've got some bits, some flowers, some Tim Holtz flower here. So I might just play around a little bit. That would look nice tucked in like that. And what else have we got here? That's the same one. Something that might be a bit long, that one. Maybe something like that. Yeah, I think I like that. The only other option I've got is something, oh, that, no, that's not quite the right colours. Okay, yep, I might stick with that one there. So I'm going to glue those down. So I just do a little dot here, and then I just do a line here and a line here, and fold that up, and then do the same here, just to glue those two halves together, and do the same here. Okay, so I'll line these up again, and I'll glue this one down. So you just basically just piece them all together, just to hold them in place. This glitter glue is quite strong, so a little bit goes a long way. Okay, so we've got that, which we can just do that across the bottom like so. Okay, so now what we can do is we can decorate them up with a little bit of stamping. So I've got this Tim Holtz, this is a very old one. I'm not sure what it's called. It doesn't seem to have, oh, it's called Little Things. So I might pick out my little bits of ephemera that I'm going to put in there, and then we can decide and something a little bit bigger. Got some of these tea cards here, so I might pop a couple of those in, and something, well, there we go, we've got some mushrooms that we can pop in the back there. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, got an owl. I'll swap that out for the owl. Okay, so now we can come in and we can decide what stamp we want. So I might see if I can get that Eiffel Tower in. Oh yes. And actually we've got a little typewriter here, that would look good. we could fit that. Could maybe just fit that. We'll probably stamp it a little bit off, but that doesn't matter. Okay. There we go. I've not used that stamp before. I think I'll be using that more often actually. And then I've just got some of this, I had these stickers here, but I don't think I'll use them. We don't really have much room left. So I think I'll just pick some of these smaller stamps, and I might get some different colors. Actually, I'll try and go the plum. See what else we've got here. I've got 247. Haven't really got a lot of room left here. There we go. Might take that one out and stamp that just there. There we go. I think we might leave that as it is. So again, if we get our journal out, and we can put them just on the edge of a page here, and that would make a lovely little tuck that you could put something in the back there. Very cute. So that's idea number 4, cascading envelopes. Before we get into idea number 5, and thank you so much if you have stuck around to this part of the video, I wanted to give some of the bonus decorating and ideas tips. So we made this journal flip here to insert into our journals. So this one here was my prototype. What I did do was I extended like this piece that we're gluing down onto the page. This piece here I actually extended over, and I kept the original flap from the envelope and I just folded it over. So now you can have another tuck on the other side of the page. So I just thought it would be a bit too complicated to show it, but it is another idea if you're a little bit more experienced that you could certainly try that idea. And also when you're making your envelopes for, like for example with the cascading envelopes here, don't forget to use other materials such as vellum, or you could even use fabric. You'd have to back it against some interfacing or some ironing on bonding fabric, I think they call it. But just think about other textures and other ideas, like fabrics or other materials that you can use just to create a little bit more interest and dynamics to your journals. So now without further ado, and I'm not going to give a tutorial on this one because otherwise this video is just going to take forever long, but we've got stacked envelopes. So these envelopes here, I just thought I would walk you through what I did. And if you would like a tutorial on this, please let me know in the comments, because I'd be more than happy to put one together for you. But for example, this one here is a glassine envelope, and I have gilded the edges. Now what I like to use is the foundry wax, the Ranger Distress foundry wax, and I've done the edges on that, and then I've done some embossing, some heat embossing. This glassine bag I had tea dyed in a solution a while ago, and this is just a little bit of serviette that I have just cut out that portion of it, and then on the back I've done some stamping, and again I've heat embossed, and again I've got a little bit more of the serviette or the napkin just to create that sort of address bit of look about it. This envelope here, I've done this a very long time ago, but what I would have done is I would have done some inking and like distress inks and napkin, and then I have run it through the embossing machine, and then I've added some stamps, and then I've just done a little bit of stamping over there, and then at the back again I have done a similar thing, napkins and stamping. So that's that one there. And then this one here is, again, it's actually a part of an envelope that I cut down, and I have tea dyed it. Now this one had like the postcode squares, so I just got a scrap of, like when I trim the edges of my book page, I keep those because you can see here it's got Paris 1716, and I've just used some stamps, covered up those postcode little boxes, and then I have again gilded the edges with the foundry wax. I've used a little bit of napkin, and I've heat embossed, and then I've just done some decorative stamping, and then I've done the same on the back, a little bit of napkin decorating, heat embossing, and then I've stamped. And again, I've just chosen a different size envelope. I've put a strip of paper down the bottom there just to give it some interest, some napkin, heat embossing, and that's on the back. So you can make a lovely stack of envelopes and you can tie them together. You can also do things like, you know, put some wax seals on the back if you like, and then that would be a nice little slip that you could, little stacked envelope that you could tuck into the cover or the back of the envelope. And what a lovely surprise that would be if you were giving that as a gift and they would open that up and see that. And to put inside, you can use things like really old book page. You could get some old ephemera, or you can, you know, just get some faux ephemera pieces like old invoices or whatever, letters, and fold that all up. And of course you can always put in like journal tags and journal cards, that sort of thing. So guys, that is my 5 ideas for envelope use. There are certainly a ton more ideas out there, and I hope you have enjoyed this. It certainly was a lot of work putting this all together. So I hope you have appreciated it. I know it helps me out as well because I like to have lots of ideas when I'm filling up journals. So guys, I would absolutely love it if you enjoyed this video, if you would give me a thumbs up and that you would like or place a comment in the description. And if you're not a subscriber, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. So that's it guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and you take care and have a great week. Bye.